Welcome to 9.5. We're talking adding, subtracting fractions in one-step equations. We're going to review a little bit with adding and subtracting fractions. Before you can add or subtract fractions, you need to have common denominators. Some fractions already have this. We call them like fractions. 1/2, 3/2. Like fractions, same denominator. You find the common denominator by finding the lowest common multiple, the LCM. Always remember to simplify when you're done with your adding or subtracting. To find our lowest common multiple, we need to find all of the multiples, or at least enough until we find the first common multiple. Think of it as skip counting. 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times 4 is 32. Go about 4 or 5 multiples out. Then find the multiple of the next number. 12 times 1 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24. 12 times 3 is 36. So, we go through and we find the smallest number in both lists. Now, I could have stopped at 24 because that is my smallest multiple. I'm multiplying 8 by 1, 2, 3. It's the third multiple. I do it to the top, I do it to the bottom. 3 divided by 3 is 1. I'm not changing the value, I'm just changing what the fraction looks like. I'm going to multiply 12 by 1, 2. Now I need to rewrite the fractions. 4 times 3 is 12. 8 times 3 is 24. 3 times 2 is 6. 12 times 2 is 24. Now I have common denominators. 12 plus 6 is 18. The denominator stays the same. I'm just looking at the numerator at this point. The denominator stays the same. So once you have like fractions, simply add or subtract the numerators. The denominator stays the same. Always simplify. I'm going to do single mountain. I find the factors of the smaller number. 1 times 18 is 18. I climb the mountain. 1, 2. 2 times 9 is 18. 3 times 6 is 18. 4 doesn't go in. 5 doesn't. 6 does. And again, you can check that by just dividing by each factor until you hit the other side of the mountain using a calculator. You get a whole number, it's a factor. I can then double check. 24 divided by 18, nope. 24 divided by 9, nope. 24 divided by 6 gives me a whole number. It's a factor for both 18 divided by 6 and 24 divided by 6. Again, if I do it to the top, I do it to the bottom. My final answer should be 3/4. Circle the final answer when you have a lot of work like that. Let's try a couple problems together. Write out your common denominators, common multiples. Do this by listing out multiples. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 4 is 16. Now I'm going to stop right there because I see that 16 and 16 are in both lists. That is my common denominator. I'm going to multiply 16 by 1 and 3 by 1 because it's the first multiple. Multiply 4 by 1, 2, 3, 4. Multiply 2 by 4. No, I don't want to change the color scheme. 3 times 1 is 3. 16 times 1 is 16. 2 times 4 is 8. 4 times 4 is 16. Now I have common denominators. I can just simply add. 3 plus 8 is 11. My denominator stays exactly the same. Does not simplify. There's my answer. 9 and 18. I'm going to list out my multiples. Again, think skip counting. If you have a hard time with your multiples, just simply use a calculator. On a calculator, 9 times 1 is 9. 9 times 2 is 18. I already see my lowest common multiple, 18. I'm going to multiply my fraction that has a denominator of 9 by 1, 2. It's my second multiple in the list. And my denominator of 18 by 1. It's my first multiple in the list. 6 times 2 is 12. 9 times 2 is 18. I'm subtracting. 4 times 1 is 4. 18 times 1 is 18. I have common denominators. Now I can subtract. 12 minus 4, only look at the numerator, is 8. Denominator stays the same. I'm going to simplify. Those are both even. Find the factors of the smaller number if you're using single mountain. 1 times 8 is 8. I know it's even, so 2 goes in. 2 times 4. 3 does not go in. 18 divided by 8, decimal. 18 divided by 4, decimal. 18 divided by 2 is my smallest factor that goes into both. Greatest factor that goes into both. That's my greatest common factor. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 18 divided by 2 is 9. 4/9 is my answer. On your own, try these two problems. Pause the video and come back when you're done. Show all of your work to receive full credit. Welcome back. First answer, 29 over 30. Second answer, 4 over 9. These are in their simplest form. Addition and subtraction, as we've discussed, do exact opposite of one another. They are inverse operations. Addition undoes subtraction, subtraction undoes addition. So let's apply what we know about fractions, what we reviewed about fractions, to equations. What is happening to the variable? In this case, I'm adding 2/3. So I can subtract 2/3 from both sides. Subtract 2/3. Subtract 2/3. Now up to this point, this whole process has been pretty simple. Now you need to deal with fractions, which means dealing with common denominators. 4/7 minus 2/3. I need to find a common denominator. List out your factors. Multiples. 7 times 1 is 7. 7 times 2 is 14. 7 times 3 is 21. I'm going to stop right there because I just said 3. That should be a cue to myself that I'm going to have a multiple in here. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. Some teachers will tell you just simply take the 7 and the 3 and multiply them. That will work. This is one of those cases where the shortcut actually does work. But in many cases, it leads to a lot more simplifying. So I'm going to multiply my 7 by 1, 2, 3. It's my third multiple. Multiply my 3 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's the seventh multiple. 4 times 3 is 12. 7 times 3 is 21. We're subtracting still. 7 times 2 is 14. 3 times 7 is 21. I'm just dealing with the numerator. The denominator stays the same. I'm going to plug that in my calculator. 12 minus 14 is -2. Negatives obviously are okay answers. Circle your answer at the end. With 8 and 12, what's nice about multiples or factors, whatever you're dealing with fractions, odds are you already found what they go into. We did 8 and 12 on the last page, so I know that I'm going to multiply my 8 by 3. I'm going to multiply my 12 by 2. I'm going to get both of them to have 24. Now in this case, I am subtracting 5/12, so I need to add 5/12 to both sides. So x is going to equal 3/8 plus 5/12. When I add 5/12 to negative 5/12, I get my identity of 0. I know how to get my common denominator already. I'm going to get 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 8 is 24. 5 times 2 is 10. 12 times 2 is 24. 9 plus 10 is 19. 19 over 24 is my answer. It does not simplify. You can check by looking for the greatest common factor. In this case, greatest common factor is 1. So by definition, it's already simplified. On the next page, we're going to do a little reminder. If you have a whole number like 4 or 5, a whole number can be turned into a fraction. Write the whole number as the numerator and a 1 as the denominator. It's hard to add a whole number and a fraction together unless they're both fractions. On your own, try these two problems, pause the video, show your work for credit, and come back when you're done. First answer, x equals 5. Second, x equals 29 over 6. If you struggled with these two problems, please feel free to ask questions in class. We will go over a couple problems together before practice time. We just talked about solving one-step equations involving fractions on a scale of 1 to 5. Rate how well we hit this target. Thanks for coming by, and I will see you in class.